Triumphs in the 1993 Marlborough Masters, a Formula 3 race day held at the famous Zandvoort circuit, and the German Formula 3 Championship in the same year earned him the chance to test an F1 car for a team then known as Footwork, although Arrows is how most race fans will remember them. They put him in their car at Estoril the day after the Portuguese Grand Prix, his first ever drive in the monstrous V10 engines that were prevalent at the top of motorsport at the time. It was a tremendous step up in pace for Jos, having only driven in F3 before jumping into the Footwork in 1993. He was going from a 175 brake horsepower to 750. More than 4 times as much power under his right foot, as well as having to deal with a semi-automatic gearbox, traction control and carbon brakes. The extra speed through corners alone would make most drivers' necks ache with G-force. Nevertheless, Jos the boss took to it like a duck to water. In his very first 15-minute run, he was on pace with the backmarkers of Sunday's Grand Prix. Another 5 minutes on track, he had matched Aguri Suzuki, the man usually behind the wheel of the car he had been given. I must say, I thought it would be quite difficult, the jump from F3 to F1, Jos told reporters at the time, but really, it was not so difficult. On the first lap I thought, shit, I never thought it would be so fast. But by the third lap I was really enjoying it. It was fantastic. After 10 to 15 laps, it feels normal, and you find yourself wanting more. Still, it's very fast. By the end of the day, in which he logged 65 laps and was left with a sore neck and shoulders, he produced a lap time that would have qualified him 10th on the grid if he had done it a few days earlier. He was only 0.07 seconds slower than Derek Warwick, Footwork's lead driver with 12 years of F1 experience. Even in that very first experience of F1, though, the watching media were treated to a reminder of the two-faced nature of speed. Verstappen returned on Thursday, still sore from his efforts 2 days before, and while he immediately started punching in lap times, he then lost it through the high-speed final sector and spun into the barriers. It signalled a premature end to the day, but it did not appear to do much to dampen the excitement around the name Verstappen. The phone started to ring off the hook. We had contact with most teams, Jos said in a revealing 2019 Beyond the Grid podcast appearance. We did a day of testing with McLaren at Silverstone. We had contact with Eddie Jordan, Flavio, Briatore, boss of Benetton. Eventually, Jos chose what he felt was the secure option above all else, signing for Benetton because they offered him a 2-year contract rather than just a 1-year deal. Initially, he was supposed to be a test driver in 1994, but when JJ Leto broke his neck in a pre-season crash, Verstappen made his debut at the Brazilian Grand Prix alongside one Michael Schumacher. His meteoric rise, having spent barely 2 years in professional racing driving, was eerily similar to what his son would achieve 2 decades later. Jos's debut was no fairy tale. He had plenty to prove after Schumacher had outqualified him by nearly 2 seconds to start second on the grid with Verstappen 7 places behind him. Caught up in a frantic midfield battle for 8th place, he pulled out to overtake Eddie Irvine 36 laps into the race, only for the Jordan to move over to lap a back marker, unaware he was being challenged, and collide with him. In a terrifying scene, Verstappen was powerless to stop his spinning car, which then hit the braking McLaren of Martin Brundle and was thrown into the air, completing a full barrel roll before hitting the tarmac again and skidding off into the barriers. Remarkably, no one was seriously hurt, despite Brundle's helmet splitting, so great were the forces involved. I was never scared, and it didn't hurt my confidence at all. I never had a problem with that, Jos said with typical bravado. He spun out of his second race too. Every time I was trying to match Michael's pace. The crashes never stopped me from trying, before Leto came back from injury. If Jos had learned anything from his first taste of F1, it was that physically he was not up to the game. But he had also quickly twigged that politically Benetton was Schumacher's team.